Well, hello folks, I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower, and before we go any further, before I forget about it, I'm very excited to announce that I will be the guest of George Noory on Coast to Coast AM next Thursday night. That's May the 4th. I'll be on Coast to Coast AM next Thursday night, which is May the 4th, and we'll be discussing my new work, Serpents and Doves in the Garden of the Gods, which talks about the book of Genesis and its unveiling of reptilian gods, shape-shifting humanoids, and the creation of the reptilian human hybrid known as modern man. That's me, and the little bit of Mandela effect update, and also things like, clues to the origin of the gods of the Bible. They came here to create this earth, so they had to come from somewhere. So that's next Thursday, May the 4th. Coast to Coast AM. Very, very happy to be back with George Noory and the great team there. Speaking of great teams, I owe a real debt of gratitude to my subscribers. My rapidly growing list of subscribers. Some real scholars, some real smart people, people that study, people that look into things quite deeply. Just over the past couple of videos I've shared with you that information I've received from my subscribers, and the ones that say it's okay to share their names, I do. If they haven't expressly said so, I don't. But this was sent to me, this idea was given me by another subscriber, and he told me about, I think it's a he, told me about this new thing called blood over intent. And when I first heard it, it really kind of pricked my soul, and I looked into it and felt like I needed to do a study on this in order to kind of get out ahead of it and to give you the what and why not and the wherefore, at least in the view of the Christian Whistleblower. So jeffreydaugherty.com, christianwhistleblower.com, book still on sale, $1.99. Check the box beneath for the link to where you can purchase those books. And we're going to talk about blood over intent today on the Christian Whistleblower. So welcome to the channel. And I do read what you write. I do read what you say. Sometimes I delete it because it's silly. But let's talk about this, a very serious subject today on the Christian Whistleblower. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower, and we're going to talk about blood over intent. So here we go. Well, all right, folks, here we go. Blood over intent, the worst of good intentions. And the reason I say the worst of good intentions is, though I do not know the people who have kind of invented or propagated this blood over intent throughout the internet, it's fairly new from what I can see. I don't know them. I've never spoken with them. Don't know who they are. I have not really studied much of their work beyond this blood over intent thing. But from what I can see, it's my belief at this point, and this could obviously change because, I could get more information, but at this point it looks to me like it is the worst of good intentions. It looks like that these folks don't have nefarious intentions. It's possible, but I don't think they have nefarious intentions. I just think that it's they say the road to hell's paved with good intentions, and in this case, it is a road to hell paved with good intentions. That's why I felt like, and of course I don't believe in a literal burning hell, but you know what I mean, metaphorically. So that's why I wanted to talk about this blood over intent, the worst of good intentions, and of course this is another Christian Whistleblower revelation. So, blood over intent is a terrible idea, based, as far as I can tell, on good intentions. And they do use some very good, very sound, very practical spiritual technologies. Now, I often will take some flack. I will take arrows, but you're not much of a cowboy if you don't have some Indians shooting at you. I know that's politically incorrect, but you get what I mean. And I do take some arrows. The pioneers take all the arrows. Again, politically incorrect, but you know what I mean. they use some good techniques. They use, the techniques about intention, speaking your intention, putting forth energetic emanation of your intention, using mantras, which basically is, positive confessions, if you will. Using sigils. I've taught on this channel about how to make sigils. So there is some good, solid, spiritual, practical technologies. And my definition of a spiritual technology that is good is one that's useful. I don't care who thought it up. I don't care where it came from. If it works and is not using intention, what I call black magic, putting my intention over someone else's intention, or if it's not using blood, which kind of is the key to this, I will employ it and use it. I guess I'm, what do they call that? Pragmatic in that way. Because spiritual technology is spiritual technology. If it works, it works. And they are using some good, sound, practical, spiritual technologies on this. So I understand the thought process. But because I understand the thought process, I understand it and recognize it as being fatally flawed. And the reason why this blood over intent idea is fatally flawed is because it's based, rooted, grounded in the Roman Pauline Christian blood mind matrix. It's based on the blood matrix. It's based on that mind control matrix, which is based on blood, which is the hallmark of the Roman Pauline Christian blood mind matrix. To be fair, it's also the hallmark of the Hebrew blood matrix, the Islamic blood matrix, the Christian blood matrix, which includes Catholicism and Protestantism. Oh yes, you Protestants taking your communion, you're tying yourself back to the blood matrix. And of course, you people eating the body of Jesus and the blood of Jesus, you transubstantiating Catholics, you know that you are guilty as charged. And blood over intent, and I mean this in the nicest, kindest way possible, not in a accusatory way, but in a way of hoping to change somebody's mind that's about to drive off over a bridge that is out in the middle and plunge into a cavern. Blood over intent is the invention of a mind possessed by the Lord Yahweh and Jehovah blood matrix. Lord Yahweh, Jehovah rat bastard, fallen Elohim God. This blood over intent is the invention of that type of a mind. Doesn't mean it's a bad person, mean person, ugly person. It just means it's a person that's deceived. And when I say possessed by the Lord Yahweh Jehovah blood magic matrix, it's understandable. Because for 2,000 years, we've been pounded with this blood matrix from Christianity. And I'm very certain that this person that has invented this is from the United States. In the United States, I mean, it's pounded to us 24/7 almost. Original sin, salvation, blood, sacrifice, communion, Eucharist. It's understandable why this person is coming up with this idea, because it seems within that Yahweh mind matrix to make sense. And it does seem to have power. You know why? Because it does have power, because it's blood magic. But, there's an old saying that if you want the power, you got to pay your bill. And if you're using Yahweh's power, this blood magic, you're going to pay Yahweh's bills. And when they come due in full, brother, that's your soul, sister. So it's understandable why this person has come up with this blood over intent, but it's dangerous beyond description. I really can't tell you how dangerous it is. I can only hope to. And the sad thing and the very pernicious thing is that this blood over intent promises ultimate liberty, but guarantees continued bondage. It promises ultimate liberty. They're selling this as, oh man, this is the way that you can transform yourself and get yourself to be who you want to be, transform this world, which are all admirable desires. But in thinking you're doing this, all you're really doing is guaranteeing your continued bondage. What it really is, it's a deadly pseudo-enlightenment. It's something that seems to us, oh man, that makes a lot of sense. Let me just go forward with this and boom, let's get it doing, let's rock and roll. But it's not really enlightenment, it's pseudo-enlightenment. And it's one of those things that happen. I need to do a study on that, pseudo-enlightenments along the path of Yahweh. There's things that happen that make you think, oh, I'm getting smart, I'm getting better, I'm getting strong, and you're really not. Because it's pseudo-enlightenment. It's just made to make you feel like you're getting enlightened when you're continuing. You get all excited because you're being transferred from one cell to another. You're still within the mind matrix. So let's take a look at this. And let me give you a scripture that I think summarizes it pretty well. The house of the wicked will be destroyed. Any and everything that comes from the house of the wicked is something that will eventually lead to destruction. You can't play with Yahweh's toys without winding up in the same island of misfit toys on which Yahweh is chief of. Little back to our childhood reckoning there. But the tent of the upright will flourish. The tent of the upright will always flourish. So to employ this blood over intent is to walk out of the tent of the upright and into the house of the wicked, thinking that you're gonna be able to gain something when you're not. Because there's a way which seems right to a man, but in the end it's a way, the way of death. You are in the tent of the upright, but you say, oh, this seems really good to me. So you go to the house of the wicked to pick up something that you think really seems good to you, but it always ends up in death. And it always will. Blood over intent basically is the construction of a sigil. You can kind of see it over here. Here's an intention this person put. And I don't know if this is supposed to be a sigil in the background, but many times they'll draw a sigil, which is good, solid, spiritual, magical, energetic work. But then you see these spots here, what they do is they will buttress it in their own minds with their own blood. Yes, like Ben Stiller in Dodgeball, they're bleeding their own blood. But I say like he did in Dodgeball, nobody makes me bleed my own blood. Nobody makes me bleed my own blood. And I say to you, like Kurt Russell as Wyatt Earp said to Billy Bob Thornton as that character he was, you gonna do something or you just gonna stand there and bleed? I encourage you not to bleed your own blood. I encourage you not to just stand there and bleed. I encourage you to do something. But basically, the construction of this ritual is decide what you want, write it out, make a sigil, and then use your own blood on the paper, as you can see here. And then, of course, usually there's mantras where you'll repeat it. And again, mantras are very effective. Sigils are very effective. Writing down your intention is very effective. But when those are all from the tent of the upright. But when you go to the house of the wicked to get an idea that seems right to you, in this case, the use of blood, that leads always inexorably to death, my brother, death, my sister. And I'm talking about death to your freedom, your dreams, your will in this world, and your ultimate spiritual death. It's that serious. And this is what I shared with you. The house of the wicked is always the house of the wicked, and everything that comes out of it's wicked. And everything that comes out of the house of the wicked does lead to destruction. So stay in the tent of the upright, and you will flourish. And if you're in the tent of the upright, you don't need anything out of the house of the wicked because it leads to destruction. Even though it seems like it might be right to you, the end of it is death. When you enter into this practice of blood over intent, you become a death dealer. And all the ways of the house of the wicked are ways of destruction and death. Let me give you an idea of what I'm talking about. Leviticus 17 says, the life of the flesh is in the blood. You're actually dealing with your own essence, your essence of this physical body. You get it? It's the physical. Your spiritual life isn't in your blood. Your physical life is in your blood. And you are giving your physicality power over your spiritual statements of intent. Do you see that? You are sublimating your spiritual intent to the blood of your flesh. Now, can't you see why Yahweh, the blood-thirsty, blood-magic God, he's tricking you into covering up your intent, which is a great thing, with your blood, which stops it. It puts your blood into the power of what your intention should be. Think of that for just a second. Let that sink in. When you think about it, it literally is blood over intent. Because you take your intent, you've read it, you've written it out. You take your intent, you put it into a sigil to affect your subconscious and your higher self. You're speaking it forth. That's your intent. But then that's your spiritual essence. That's your spiritual muscles. That's your spiritual bad self. And you put it out there, which is powerful. But then you take blood, which is of this flawed body, and you put it over your intent. That allows Yahweh to hijack your intent. That allows Yahweh to use your energy for his purposes. That allows Yahweh to use your juju for his doo-doo. The life, the essence of the flesh is in the blood. And the flesh and the blood is tied to the altar. The altar is tied to the idea of atonement and sin. And it's blood that makes atonement for the soul. This is tying you back to that false original sin, blood atonement matrix. You don't have original sin. You got the spark of divinity within. And when you use that spark of divinity, you're right in the sigil. You're right in the intention. You're right in the mantra. You're starting off in the spirit. But then you're getting hijacked back to the flesh by this master deceiver who is Yahweh. And you're actually allowing blood, physicality, to get over your intent, your spirituality. You're putting this flawed, failed mud hut that you got conned into, you're putting its power over that of your intention. And you inextricably, and that means you can't ever get out of it, tying yourself back to that false sin and the original blood matrix. If you just think it through, it's not something you're going to do. Now look at this. This is amazing. We're going to look at this, and then we're going to actually go to the Greek, because I want you to see this. Hebrews chapter 9. This is the blood of the testament which God enjoined unto you. Moreover, he sprinkled both the blood of the tabernacle and the vessels with of the ministry. Almost all things are purged with blood, and without shedding of blood there's no forgiveness of sins. These blood rituals guarantee you're kept bound, even blood over intent. There's no freedom in blood. There's exactly the opposite. Blood over intent betrays an old matrix thinking and continues bondage to that matrix. It's a false pseudo-enlightenment. Makes you feel good when you're going from one cell over to a new cell. That's all it is. But I want to show you this in the Greek so you're not just taking my word for it. So watch this. It's going to blow your mind. Okay, look at this, folks. This is the Greek. In fact, it's the book of Hebrews. It might actually be Hebrew, but it is Greek, but at any rate, it's the book of Hebrews written by Paul. And look at this. This is the blood of the covenant. What is a covenant? Well, a covenant is a will, a testament. It's a contract between two parties. It's a will. It's a testament. And guess what? What happens with wills? Wills don't take place until what? Death! The Lord, oh, I give you a new testament. I give you a new will. That means he's going to kill you. And he did kill you in the garden, metaphorically, when you went into that mud hut. You can find serpents and doves in the Garden of the Gods, the book, and also some videos of that, and we're going to be on Coast to Coast next Thursday with it. But, I mean, this just again shows you all the dealings you have with Yahweh are dealings of death because they're wills, they're testaments, and they don't go into effect until after the party dies. They're complete terms. And look at this, the terms are determined by the initiating party. Guess who the initiating party is? Yahweh. Okay, so we're talking about a term, we're really talking about a bill of sale. And if, in case you're not convinced, it's the covenant which God or the Lord commanded towards you. What does commanded mean? Oh, he enjoined it. He put it on you. He put you under charge. He commanded you to do it. He initiated and commanded. He locked you into this, Jack. He locked you into this, Jill. This covenant, the covenants of the Lord, are binding upon you. Why are they binding upon you? What is it that gives them their binding power? The binding power comes from what? Comes from blood. The tabernacle, the vessels of the ministry, all the tools he uses to keep you in bondage to this bad deal, this contract that he conned you into. All those tools are blood tools. And if that's not clear enough, apart from bloodshedding, there's no forgiveness. Unless you shed your blood, Yahweh's not going to enter into a covenant with you, a contract with you. The Elohim doesn't work that way. When you bleed your own blood, when you prick yourself, when you put blood on the paper, you're entering into a contract not with the Elohim, not with the high gods, but the failed, false, fallen, flawed, rat bastard, Yahweh, Jehovah, Marduk, Yaldabaoth. And it didn't come just from my mouth. It came from the actual word of the head, blood magic human himself. Paul, he's telling you, look, fools, we're binding you up with these blood contracts. How can you not see? How can you not understand what's going on here, folks? Come on. Think about it. Come on now, folks. You're smarter than this. Blood over intent is a terrible idea based, as far as I can tell, on good intentions. Using good, sound, practical spiritual technologies, you know, the intentions, the mantras, the sigils. Again, I understand the process, but it's fatally flawed because it's still based in that Roman Pauline Christian blood mind matrix. Blood over intent, it's literally what it is. It puts the soulish, fleshly, failed, flawed blood over your spiritual intention. It's an invention of a mind possessed by the Lord, the Yahweh, Jehovah, in his blood magic matrix. It's understandable, but it is evil and dangerous beyond description. It promises liberty, but guarantees bondage. It's a pseudo-enlightenment. Use your sigil. Declare your intention with a sigil. Declare your intention with mantras. Declare your intention by writing it down. But then add your own blood? It's so stupid, and if you just thought about it for 10 seconds, rationally, I am a spiritual being The sigils are a physical manifestation of my spiritual intention. The mantra is a physical extension of my spiritual intention. The speaking forth, the confession, is a spiritual, energetic projection of my intention. All that good stuff. And now you want to throw blood on it, which is physical, base, only powerful because you think it's powerful because it's the blood power that binds you to this fallen world, Christian, Pauline, Roman, Neronian matrix. Blood is not really all powerful. You're taking spirituality, which is much more powerful than blood, and you're putting blood over it, negating that spiritual authority, subjecting yourself back to Yahweh. Don't you see? You're going your way, and then you allow it to be hijacked by Yahweh, and you're stuck in the mud, stuck in the blood. You're in the tent of the upright. Sigils, tent of the upright. Intention, tent of the upright. Writing it out, tent of the upright. Speaking it forth, tent of the upright. But then, and you're going to flourish if you do that. You will flourish if you do that. But then you got to go to the house of the wicked because some guy on the internet said, oh, this seems right to me. Sounds like a great idea. It's the way of death. I don't think he knows it or means it, but he's wrong, and it's going to kill you. It makes you a death dealer. It's taking, it's the life of the flesh, the intention, the power of the flesh is in the blood. And it's tied to the altar, sin, original sin. So you want to take your spiritual intention and put it back under subjection, bondage, slavery to the blood matrix. What are you thinking, man? The blood of the testament. Blood is the power of the slave ownership paperwork which Yahweh holds over you. Everything he uses to keep you bound is sprinkled with blood. And do you really think the power that he has over you that keeps you a slave is blood? Everything he uses to keep you a slave is sprinkled with blood. Oh, I know how I'll get free. I'll sprinkle my spiritual intention with blood. That's stupid. It's ludicrous. There's no freedom in blood. It's exactly the opposite. We've seen that. You started off spiritually and you want to it's a perfect construction by Yahweh to get people that are using good spiritual intention and to get them hijacked back into the blood, back into the mud, and he can use your juju, your strength for his doo-doo. Blood over intent is old matrix thinking. It continues bondage, and it's a false pseudo-enlightenment. And you can see it's just stupid. Don't do it. Okay, folks. We've seen that this blood over intent is a bad idea. We've seen that it's a flawed idea. We've seen that it's a dangerous idea. And we've seen that, quite frankly, it's a stupid idea. It sublimates your spiritual essence to your physical essence. And that's the opposite of the direction that you want to go. Think about it. And if you just stop and think about it, it makes perfect sense. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower. I want you to subscribe to this channel. I want you to like this video. I want you to share this video. And I want you to tune in next Thursday night when I visit George Norrie on Coast to Coast AM. I want you to go buy some books at $1.99. They'll help you get more information, help you unwind your mind. And if you have questions or if you have answers, don't hesitate to leave me a message or ask me a question. I don't know why I drew a blank there. I was trying to think of, I've got about a million things going through my head right now, but blood over intention. I still choose to think that it's not an intentional false flag or an intentional psyop to get us bound, but Yahweh couldn't have thought of a better one, because it actually takes your spirituality, good use of your spirituality, your spiritual intention, and subverts it by putting the physical over the power of your spiritual intention, and then it allows him to use that energy. And it's part of this whole thing of grinding you down. The flat circle videos, you should watch those. And he is just a rat bastard, a lying rat bastard. And I'm glad to be able to share this with you. So this is one hole you don't have to fall into. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower, coming at you at the speed of light and helping you unwind your mind. And here's hoping you... Oh, I want to say this. If you have practiced blood over intent, you need to say this, and I'll just say it out. You can rewind it. I bind the power of the blood of intent ritual that I have participated in. I did it ignorantly. I did it without knowledge. I did it in mistake. And I hereby renounce the power that I gave anything or anyone over me by my participation in blood over intent ceremonies. I hereby declare my spiritual freedom. I declare my spiritual sovereignty. I denounce and renounce any chains of bondage or slavery that have put upon me. I am asserting my spiritual intention over my physical. And I am a spiritual being. I am not filled with original sin. I have the spark of divinity within. I am a spiritual being, habiting for the moment a physical body, and I will not allow that physical body to have power over the spiritual being that I am. This is my intention. I am divine, I am sovereign, and I am free. How do you like that? That's good stuff. Do it right now if you've been involved in this blood over intent. Jeffrey Daugherty, Christian Whistleblower. This is what you call unindoctrinating yourself.